Welcome back. This is part 2 of our 4-part series on physician recruiting. Last week, Tim and I looked back at 2018 and discussed the current state of physician recruiting. If you missed that episode, make sure and check it out on our blog. One thing we know is that physician recruiting is harder than ever before. Because of this, it's more important than ever to have a recruiting framework in place. Whether you're handling your recruiting in-house or working with a firm, this framework will ensure successful placements. Because at the end of the day, we know that's really what matters, is placements. Today, I'm going to turn the reins over to Tim and let him walk you through our recruiting framework and why it is successful for our clients.
Matt, appreciate the introduction. What we're going to talk about today is the recruiting process, and as Matt put, the framework. How we consult with our partners and try to make this process, which is as difficult as it's ever been, seem as simple as it possibly can be. We really break down our process into 4 distinct phases. First phase is just the strategy and process. The second phase is the procurement and sourcing. The third phase is the interview and the close. And the fourth phase is the onboarding and the retention of that candidate. So let's take a step back and go through each of these phases just briefly, one by one. Let's start with phase 1, strategy and process. This is all about making sure that the process in which you attack the market and how you handle a candidate from the first moment you converse with them to when they get on site to how they close is as efficient as possible. One of the first things we often do when we get the opportunity to work with a new partner is to take a step back and really look at every step that they take within the recruiting process. We ask a lot of questions. The most important question is why? Why are we doing this step? If the answer is I don't know, it's probably a step that we shouldn't be doing, or if the answer is it's just how we've always done it, that's probably a step we should reconsider. Step 2, or phase 2, procurement and sourcing. This is where the hard work is done. This is where the cold calling and we're partnering with a third-party organization that has access to a number of candidates is very important. This is also where the hard work happens if you're going to do everything in-house. It's about touching as many candidates as possible and discussing your opportunity with as many candidates who are interested as is possible. Procurement and sourcing is really where that first part of that relationship is established between the candidate and yourself, and where it can start off as positive or negative. Phase 3 is the interview and close. Now, we didn't mention this before, but phase 3 and the interview and close, we think is an area where organizations have a chance to really differentiate themselves. We believe strongly that 90 to 95% of the job should be done before a candidate makes it on site. They should know what the compensation is. They should know what the job description is. So when they get on site to interview, it's all about the experience. It's all about the people that they're meeting with. Can they envision themselves working for this organization? And then the close should be efficient. It should be something that happens with a lot of jumping through hoops. Contracts should be pre-approved. Offer letters should be pre-approved. Closing tools should be pre-approved before a candidate gets on site. So if you like a candidate, you can move quickly and move efficiently and beat the competition to their services. And then phase 4, onboarding and retention. We believe retention is a recruiting strategy all in itself. If you can't retain your own physicians, you're always going to be recruiting. And the physicians you retain are the candidates you don't end up having to recruit in the future. Onboarding is about the experience. After they sign the contract and agree to take the job, there's a long gap between that and start date. Typically, it can be anywhere from 90 days to as long as 6 months. If it's a new grad, it could be up to a year. Every encounter they have with you during that process of the onboarding is setting them up with the expectations of what it's going to be like to work for your organization. We've seen a lot of organizations lose candidates during this onboarding phase because they just don't have a plan in place. It's something that we help do here at Adaptive Medical Partners. We want our partners and the organizations that we work with to be as efficient as possible. This is a challenging market, but it's not a complicated process. You can break it down, you can make it simple, and if organizations can focus on phase 3 and phase 4, where most of them focus on phase 1 and phase 2, you might find there's some differentiation that doesn't cost you anything more and gives you a chance to recruit the market that other people are having trouble finding candidates for.